whatever happens, you have to deal with it. You know, it's like whatever happens in life, whatever goes wrong in life. I'll give you an example. I talked about this boat before. This boat's a good thing to talk about. An old wooden boat called the Godavari at the yoga retreat. And I went out there one morning. This boat was probably 50 years old when we had it. Like a 30-foot wooden Bahamian boat, which means it wasn't very well built. It was nailed together, planks instead of screwed together. And they were probably cut with machetes or fine-tuned machetes. But it was a good old boat. It was solid most of the time. And we had the engine out at a shop in Nassau being rebuilt. I went there one morning and it had a top. And I went to the dock and just the top was showing. That means everything else was below the water, i.e. the boat had sunk. Now I could go to my room and cry. I could go and muse about it. As soon as I saw the boat sunk, what did I know I had to do?
Get it out.
I had to unsink it, right? I had to bring it up.
Yeah.
There was no option. There wasn't an option of calling a barge with a crane to lift it out of the water. Actually, the top wasn't showing. It was actually below the water. I remember that. There was no option of doing that. How can I get this boat out of the water?
Get a bucket.
No, if the deck of the boat is below water, you're bailing water out of water. It doesn't go anywhere, right? So immediately I ran and had some big pieces of foam that had washed up on the beach. I got some big pieces of foam back in our storage area. I went underwater. I had some other people come. And I picked up the boat because it's easy to move a boat underwater. Picked up one up, and somebody stuck a piece of foam under the back of the cabin. Then they stuck a piece of foam under the front of the cabin. So the boat is now off the bottom, right? And so then I pushed the boat around to the shore, and I dragged it in. Luckily, the tide was coming in. And within an hour, I had the boat as high up on the shore as I could get it, and I tied it down. But it was still like the deck was underwater. The cabin was out a little bit, right? And the tide started falling. Well, there was a tidal range in Nassau is 3 feet. As soon as the tide fell, the water, at low tide, the water was below the decks. We got some people with big buckets. We bailed the boat out in like 10 minutes. We had it floating again, okay? But the problem was, here's the issue. It was something I hadn't encountered before, and I knew I had to solve the problem. So I couldn't think, there was no way of thinking, I can't do this, goodbye boat, right? And this is a good analogy for life. Whatever happens in life, you have to solve it. And the really cool thing about karma is if you don't solve it, God is going to bless you. He'll keep sharing this problem with you over and over again in one form or another. Whatever it is, whatever we're dealing with, whatever we can't handle, it's going to keep coming back. Well, this boat wouldn't keep coming back, but I had to save the boat. Whatever, I had to salvage the boat. So keeping it together is a matter of practice. You said, how do I keep it together in life? And I don't see myself as keeping it together. I just see myself as working hard. Okay? So whatever comes along as a problem, you gotta fix it. You know, it's a problem with the yoga the other day. I had to take care of it. Problem in my own yard, I gotta take care of it. Problems here, I gotta take care of it. The newsletter, I have to take care of it. And there's no way to hide these things, you know? So if you just, there's a little micro switch behind you right here. If you just take that switch and switch it from off to on, that's an on switch for dealing with it. Whenever anything comes along, you deal with it. Period. And you're going to find it's going to be much, much easier to deal with. Maybe coming to meditation every morning helps. I'm sure it helps some. But I think the most important thing is about, what we talk about in teacher training? Attitude, yeah. The most important thing is about attitude. You know? If you go around, whatever happens, and think, oh, I can't do that, and I can't do this, and oh, it's too hard, and I'm too fat, and I'm too old, and I'm too blah, 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 blah. That's what's going to happen. So you just got to deal with it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.